Shalawama, Shalawama. I am DrYasapa from Zion Law School. You're looking at the Zodiac, the Gospels and the Zodiac, the truth about JC, okay? The truth about JC. This is what you're looking at. The link to the free PDF, hold on, y'all. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of the video, so download it. Make sure you download this book, okay? Now, what you're looking at on the screen is page 189. So we completed Capricorn. Now we're going to go into Aquarius. So y'all give me 1 second. Let me check the signal, all right? Stay with me while I do this, y'all. Support me by sharing this link, all right? Share this link. That's what you can do to support what we're doing right now. This information is really critical for anyone who says that they are, quote unquote, an Israelite, or even a Hebrew Israelite, or even if you say you're African American, or even a Christian, okay? This information is very important. It is not intended to change your religion. It is not even intended to change your point of view. It is meant to educate you so that you could have information to make decisions, better decisions than what you're making right now, and so that you will be aware. All right, that's what this is about. All right, and then hopefully this will help you to return to the Most High, however you see that as being based upon your education, your life experience and education, all right? That's what this is about. Okay, give me 1 moment, all right? Let me see if we have mic check. All right, so we're good. So y'all, please like and share. As y'all know, YouTube shadow bans Zion Law School YouTube channel. It is shadow banned. Just take a look at the number of subscribers. On my analytics, I think only 7 or somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 or 11, or I don't know, some small number of my subscribers even get a notification. I checked it in the analytics, so they don't send notifications out. The viewers are coming from outside sources, even web browsers, right? Even web browsers. So y'all do that, support this work, okay? Support the work. By the way, speaking of support, you should get behind me to write the book of the law, okay? These are Moses' words, the book of the law, to write it in Ancient Ibaryath. In other words, I'm gonna take it out of the biblical Hebrew, out of the English, and put it back into Ibaryath, and then from Ibaryath, put it into English to show what it says. All right, to show what it actually says. I'll show you where the mythology is, etc., etc., etc. So it's going to be written with Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8 in view. And I'm also reaching out to others who may have a different point of view, but who are familiar with the language, who can put their information in a footnote. So you can get multiple perspectives, okay? Multiple perspectives, that's also important. We're dealing with education, not religion. Education, not indoctrination. So y'all get behind me financially with your skill sets or whatever means that you're able to support so that we can get our own book of the law and stop. This is humiliating. Do you realize, scholars in the audience, do you realize that we are using our oppressors' books, and you're basing your whole life, y'all, many of you Hebrew Israelites, you base your whole faith, your whole walk on translations that were written by your enemies. But yet you talk against Esau and all of these other enemies that you say you have. But yet you're drinking from their water. You're drinking out of their well. They give you what they want you to know. Why? Because you won't, you have not, but you have the opportunity now to support the production of your own book of the law, your own literature, your own scholars. It's time to stop disrespecting scholars. But anyway, I'm done with that. Let's move forward. We are on Capricorn right now. I'm sorry, we finished Capricorn. Now we are on Aries. Not Aries, we're on Aquarius. We finished Capricorn and we are now on Aquarius. Now, what's the relationship between Capricorn and Aquarius? These are still the cold, the bitter, the cold winter months, right? December, January, very cold, bitterly cold in December and January. But we're going to get into that. So we should see some relationship between Capricorn and Aquarius. Now, I'm showing the picture of Aquarius on the screen for a very specific purpose. I want you to see the image here. This is a man holding a water pitcher, Take a look at that. The dots that you see, these are the stars that make up the constellation. Okay, the little circles right here, well, you can't see my hand, but the little circles that you see right here, these are the stars that make up the constellation, okay? This is the head of the man. All right, this is the head of the man. This is his water barrel or water pitcher. Okay, and here you see water coming out of the water pitcher. Now here you see waves of the water. It looks like Ma, right? In Ibaryath, it looks like the pictograph Ma. Y'all see it? See that? All right, so this is Aquarius. So what do we see here? We see this appears to be a woman. If you look at the cursor, this appears to be a woman. This is a man. This appears to be a fish. And this is a door, right? And these are people. Now, y'all may remember in the Gospels, the Christ figure said to his disciples, go into the house, you'll see a woman or a man carrying a water pitcher. Enter into that house. Okay, astrologically, it's referring to the zodiac sign Aquarius. In other words, they would be leaving Aries and entering in, leaving Pisces rather, and entering into Aquarius, right? In other words, what age is coming next? After Pisces, Christianity is Pisces, right? The fish, the Dogon. After the age of Pisces will dawn the age of Aquarius. Remember that popular song, The Age of Aquarius, way back in the day? All right, so now the next, according to astrology or mainstream astrology, the coming age is Aquarius. So let's get into it. Now, I'm not going to scroll the screen the whole time. I just want you to see a few things because we're going to cover some things a little bit differently in the beginning than we did in the other presentation. So here we go. Page 189. Aquarius. This is coming from Mark chapter 13, verse 1. And it continues all the way through Mark chapter 14, verse 16. Aquarius, out of Mark 13 and 14, the man carrying a jug of water, Aquarius is symbolized by a man carrying a jug of water. Note, Scholars note, according to historians, scholars, only women carried water in the ancient Middle East. Only women carried water in the ancient Middle East. It would be a humiliation for a man to carry water. Note that. It is a humiliation for a man to carry water, even in sports today. If you're a water boy, that means you're a scrub. You have no skill, no strength, right? So you're what? You are the water boy. This is in modern day sports, right? But there's no shame for a woman to carry water. Now, this may even still be true in certain parts of the world. I don't know. Y'all can check that for yourself. But the point I want you to see is that the zodiac sign Aquarius is represented or symbolized as a man carrying a jug of water. So is this man a scrub because he's carrying water? Or is this really a woman? Really a woman carrying a jug of water, pouring the water onto the earth? Now, this is very problematic. Very problematic. Why is that? Well, first you have to deal with the question. If it is in fact a woman, why is it represented as a man? What's the intent? So we're dealing with psychological warfare. We're also dealing with what? War tactics and strategies that involve the pen, writing, and symbology to move you psychologically wherever the puppet master wants you to go. To predict behavior because they know your perception, right? But are there other reasons? I don't know. Maybe you could think of something better than me. Put it in the chat if you have something in mind. Don't be greedy. Don't be stingy with your thoughts and with what you know. Put it in the comment section, all right? Put it in the comment section. That's the first thing I want, all right? Why is Aquarius represented as a man? Now, those of you who've seen other presentations that I've done, I've shown the image of the Lord's evening meal, and I've pointed out that Christ in the center is the sun disk in the sky. And he is what? He's accompanied by his 12 apostles. So the sun in the sky, the S-O-N, is accompanied by the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 constellations at the table. Two of those people at the table are female. They are women. They are women. This suggests that it is not just Virgo who is a woman, but also Aquarius. Otherwise, who is the second? Who's the second female? Who's the second woman, if not Aquarius? Because the task of carrying a water jug is only done by women, according to historians in the ancient Near East. Now, I know something different, and Zion Law School scholars also know something different. The ancient Near East, over in what they call Africa right now, well, this is not the promised land. The promised land, watch the video. If you want to know where it's at, watch the video that I did on the topic. The promised land according to Moses, or the location of the promised land according to Moses. You have been completely completely and absolutely disoriented in terms of geography and misled, completely misled. So all conclusions of the scientific research that you have studied, learned, or even heard about that has to do with quote unquote Israel being or not being in Africa, in Canaan, what they're calling, y'all know what I'm talking about, over in East Africa, all of it is a lie. It's nowhere near there. Watch that video, the location of the promised land according to Moses, something like that. Search it on the channel. But anyway, let's move forward. I wanted y'all to get that information. Now remember, Aquarius and Capricorn are related. How do we know this? Because of the season, because of the seasons. The seasons, they are both wintry. They're both occurring in the winter, all right? In fact, the bitter part of winter. Let's read. Let me check. Y'all make sure y'all like and share because you know, like the video, share it. You know, YouTube will not do it. Help me get this information out, y'all. It doesn't benefit me. It benefits you also. We have to return to the Most High as a people, not as individuals, okay? That's when the return comes. That's when the return comes, okay? So do your part. It takes nothing for you to like a video and to share it. All right? If you can't do that, really, you can't even complain about your plot in life in terms of the oppression because you're refusing to help yourself. This is the Negro programming. All right? The Negro programming or the self-destructive programming. Anyway, let's continue. Things fall apart. Very, very important natural law I want to bring to you guys' attention right now. All right, very important. Fundamental natural law I'm going to bring to your attention right now. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. So it's going to fall apart from the center. Mere anarchy. Anarchy is loosed upon the world. Let me repeat that. Mere anarchy, key word, anarchy, is loosed upon the world. What does that mean? According to your education, anarchy means, now you finish that. You finish that. We're going to go into this. Anarchy. Remember, this is related to Capricorn. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dim tide is your reference to water. The blood-dim tide is loose. There's blood in the water. Is loosed. And everywhere, the ceremony of innocence is drowned. In other words, innocence is destroyed, much like in today's world in North America. Innocence is destroyed. It's disgusting. The way they put sexuality on people, homosexuality on people, sexualizing children. You see these entertainers with all of the disgusting things that they do and say, and it is being normalized. And the people are drinking that half cup of dirty water, just like Elijah Muhammad said they would. Let's continue. I want to go into some meanings. Now, y'all watch the screen share, okay? Take a look at what I'm looking at. Let me use a pointer. Or y'all see the pointer here? Take a look at this definition. It says anarchy, noun, somewhere around the 1530s. Quote, absence of government. That means there's no government. Anarchy, noun, came into use around the 1530s. It means absence of government. From French, anarchy, or directly from Middle Latin, anarchia. Okay? From Greek, anarchia, quote, lack of a leader. Lack of a leader, the state of people without government, end quote. In Athens, used of the year of 30 tyrants, the year of 30 tyrants, 404 BC, when there was no archon. All right, now, let's go down a little bit further. The key phrase here is what? Absence of government, y'all. Focus on that. Absence of government. Another one I want you to focus on. The state of people without a government. The state of people without a government. Lack of a leader. Let's go down. Let's continue. Anarchy. This is coming from Merriam-Webster's. Let me go back up. I should have. Okay, so our source here for the first definition is the Etimon Online. All right. Now let's go down to Merriam-Webster's.com. It says anarchy, noun, absence of government, a state of lawlessness or political disorder. Note, political disorder due to the absence of governmental authority. Next, a utopian society of individuals who enjoy complete freedom without government. Well, what is a utopian society that enjoys complete freedom without government? What is this? This is a society that's the best of the best. It's the ideal. You do what you want to do. Everybody lives happily ever after. Life is wonderful. No pain, no suffering, none of that. It's perfect. You are sovereign. You rule yourself. You govern your own mind. Your rights end where your rights begin or your actions begin to harm or injure someone else. This is sovereignty. So here, what do we see? Think. Anarchy is the taking away of your sovereignty, or anarchy is your sovereignty. It depends on your point of view, does it not? Take a look at this. Anarchy, go back to Etimon Online. Absence of government. So those people who are in power, think Capricorn, corporations are saying without corporate government, there's chaos. Without corporate government, without corporate Christianity, Catholicism, in its absence, there is disorder, chaos. But in actuality, you take a look down here at Merriam-Webster's, anarchy actually means individual or every man, every womb man. Anarchy means their sovereignty. Anarchy is your sovereignty. your right to contract, your right to do whatever you want, whenever you want. This is natural law. Do y'all see it? Do you see it? So the definition that's given to you is that you being sovereign causes disorder and chaos. And it is up for the Catholic Church and other corporations to come in, put you in a corporate status, take away your sovereignty so that you can follow their rules of order. You do what they say, forget about natural law. They're going to bring order out of chaos. I hope y'all see that. Now let's continue. So I think we already went through this, so I'm not going to go through that again. All right. Now, let's make the connection. Let's make the connection. Now, as I hope all of you know by now, mores are the substance and subject matter of the law. What we say is law. All right. And what we do is a demonstration of that law. So we need to be competent. How does this play out in this document, this grand document that our ancestors produced, based upon natural law, based upon nature, and as they say, nature's God? All right. The Constitution and American sovereignty. Let's look at it from Cornell Law School, okay? law.cornell.edu. State sovereignty and the 10th Amendment, U.S. Constitution annotated. Note what it says here. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. In other words, the Constitution delegates certain powers, all right? The Constitution delegates certain powers. There's judicial, executive, legislative. It assigns those powers, all right? The power is not delegated by the United States, to the United States by the Constitution. Let me read that again. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. In other words, the Constitution has to say the United States can do this or that and that. What is this? The United States can have judicial power, legislative power, executive power. That's what that's saying. All right. Nor prohibited by it to the states. Now, what is this saying? The Constitution prohibits the states from having certain powers. Let me repeat that. The Constitution prohibits states from exercising certain powers. These are prohibitions. Okay, so the Constitution delegates powers to the US government, and it prohibits powers, some powers, to the states. Make that clear. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by the Constitution to the states. Notice this, y'all, are reserved to the states respectively. So in other words, if the Constitution didn't say states you cannot do A, states you cannot do B, well, then the states can do it, right? Or, here's the point I want to make, or to the people. Now let me repeat that. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, that's one, nor prohibited by it to the states, that's two, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people, or to the people. Now, first level analysis here, first level analysis. Any power that's not prohibited by the Constitution is reserved to the people. Those powers are reserved to the people. Who are the people? Go look into the preamble. I'm a people. People is both singular and plural in the English language. I am a people. We are a people. Genesis chapter 2. You have to be an idiot to deny your status as a Moorish American if you are a Moor. You disconnected yourself from nature and your birthright. You have dishonored your ancient foremothers and forefathers. That's quoting from the Ten Commandments, Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Therefore, since you failed to honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers, you get the curses. You get the bills of attainder because you have corrupted the blood of the covenant. Understand. Be clear. Choose who you want to be. Do you want to be alive, a man or a woman? Genesis chapter 2, the rightful heir, the substance and the subject matter of the law. Sovereign, not a sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. Sovereign. Or do you want to be a corporate civil liter mortuus, civilly dead corporation? Stop. Constantly hit with bills of attainder in whatever form that they may take. In whatever form they may take. Now, in our Saturday 506 The Curses class, I teach that class every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've shown many times that bills of attainder are in the curses. It is in Deuteronomy chapter 28. In the Ibaryath, this is why you need to support my project to write the book of the law in Ibaryath and then back into English so that you can see bills of attainder, so that you can see specifically what these bills of attainders are and how they're going to impact you and all of the signs and conditions that identify you as a house of Yasharallah. Note, I did not say Israel or Hebrew Israelite. Note that. Let me check the chat, y'all. Put something in the chat. Sherry Walder, Namaste, 33. Islam and Shalawama to all of the house of Yasharallah and all of the Moors, all of us, Genesis chapter 2, rightful heirs to all land, all energy, all resources on the planet. Islam and Shalawama to all of the Moors. Y'all don't know what that means. You need to find out. All right. Let's continue. So we see in this document that our ancestors wrote, we see natural law. We see natural law. I hope you see it. Second level of analysis. Second level of analysis. In the preamble to this document, there's no mention of state. Let me repeat that. There's no mention of state being a beneficiary. The people are the beneficiary. So I want to raise the question. We know that we're dealing with word magicians. Literally, word magicians, people who create history. They create documents, they alter documents, they alter art, paintings, and sculptures, and they create them. They create realities. All right? They create realities much like a Hollywood movie. This is what they do. All right. And this is the source of their power. Let me repeat that. It is the source of their power. They need you to believe. They need you to have them in your mind as the authority. Let me ask you a question. If you know that a criminal has a typical way of behaving, that criminal does certain things, and he's a criminal. All right? He cannot be changed. He don't want to change. He cannot be rehabilitated. It is his nature. What I'm suggesting to you, or what I would like for you to think about, Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8 has told us that the Bible, I'm speaking very generally, the Bible has been edited, right? Things have been written into it, things have been written out of it, things have been changed. There's outright deceit. There's all types of edits, etc., in that Bible. I show it all the time in the 506 Curses course that I teach every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all welcome to come. The link is in the description area. If they did it to that, what makes you think they will not do it to this document? Let me repeat that. If they did it to the Bible, what makes you think they would not edit this document? And what edit am I suggesting? I'm suggesting that you consider whether or not state actually belongs in here. Should it be that those rights belong to the people and not the state? It's just something to think about. What would be the impact? See, what's the impact if those rights did not belong to the states, right? First of all, the states are estates, our estates, all right? And that was changed to states, okay? That's also part of how they robbed us. The bills of attainder. Estates are states, or at least the estates have been converted or written as states. Okay? Y'all should look up the meaning of state. Look that up. It's something to think about. See, how do things change if those rights are only for the people? What conditions would not exist? What conditions might exist? What have the states done in the exercise of states' right? See, what if there is no states' right? That's what I'm trying to get at. What if there is no states' rights? What if all of that is reserved to the people, which is consistent with the preamble? I'm just trying to get you to think, right? Maybe my thought is wrong. Maybe it's not wrong, but it doesn't hurt to think about it, does it? Given that we know who we're dealing with. Give me 1 second, y'all. We know the nature. We know the nature of the human, Han Human. Han Uman, y'all remember that? Han Uman. The Dogon. Y'all see what I'm getting at? State, corporation. That's the link. State, corporation. State of, corporation. Corporation. This is the relationship of Aquarius to Capricorn. Now let's get into it further so you can see it for yourself. Let me see if I want to, there's one more thing I want to show y'all. Now, you know, when we deal with corporations, when you're dealing with corporations, you're dealing with the worst. You're dealing with the worst of Capricorn. The downright, dirty, nasty, ugly part of Capricorn. All right. And that's wintry, right? Darkness, discomfort, everything ugly that we went over. Y'all go look at that. Now, let's relate Aquarius and Capricorn to Saturn. To Saturn. Now, note, bloodline house of Yasharallah is not Jewish. Jewish is a religion. Judaism is a religion. Let's go through this. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I want to bring this to your attention. Saturn. Saturn and the Jews. The religion, not the bloodline people. Make it clear. Here are the rings of Saturn. This is the Lord of the rings. This is why you married people who have been married by these corporations. This is where the custom or tradition of wearing wedding rings come from. In commemoration and honor, reverence of the planet Saturn, showing your devotion to Saturn, the planet with all of these rings. All right, now take a look at this, y'all. Now we're going to develop this as we get into Aquarius, right? Remember, the topic is the relationship between Capricorn and Aquarius. So let's begin here. All of you Hebrew Israelites and Christians, take note. Take note. Underlying the well-known link. Now this says well-known. Well-known to who? Well-known to who? Not you Hebrew Israelites. Not you Israelites. Not you Black people, you Latino people. Y'all don't know. Well-known to who? So somebody got the education and you didn't. Now, why is that? And does your camp leader know? But they didn't tell you. Underlying, or your pastor or minister, underlying the well-known link, connection between Saturday, between Shabbat, Sabbath in Hebrew, underlying the well-known link between Saturday, Shabbat in Hebrew, and Saturn. And Saturn, Shabbate, Shabbate are linked, underlying the well-known link between the Sabbath on every Sunday that you Hebrew Israelites love to call Shabbat, because it sounds good. You don't have a clue what you're saying. Not a clue. Because you'll turn around and you'll say that astrology is evil, it's the devil. But yet every Saturday you're worshiping that devil. Let me show you. Underlying the well-known link between Saturday, Shabbat in Hebrew, and Saturn, Shabbate in Hebrew. You go tell your camp leader to watch this and explain it to you. Is the reference to Saturn, the planet Saturn, as the planet in charge of the Jews. Saturn is the planet in charge of the Jews. So all of y'all out here who's saying that you are a Jew, Black people are the real Jews, well, guess what? You've just admitted that Saturn is a planet that governs you. You've just admitted in your ignorance and arrogance that you follow the zodiac. Why? Because you don't understand language. This is why we need to have our own book of the law. This is why you must support this project, regardless of your camp being competitive with Zion Law School or telling you stay away from Zion Law School, stay away from DrYasapa. Why? Because they don't want you to learn this. Because that's one less monthly donation, or probably several donations on top of your monthly tithe. How much you give last year? You gave a monthly tithe. How many times did you donate for various projects? How much money did you give? And what percentage of that is of what you earn, what you take home after taxes? Not before taxes, after taxes. What percentage is that? Well, now you're knocking at the door as to why they probably know and didn't tell you. Because they tell you astrology is evil. Ain't that right? Don't listen to DrYasapa. Stay away from Zion Law School's class. Because if you come here to Zion Law School 506 The Curses course on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will receive a proper education, and nobody's going to be able to pull this garbage on you. You've been misled all your life. All your life. All right, you got out of Christianity thinking you were getting into something better with the Hebrew Israelites, and you find out just religion, same game, different stadium. Same game, different stadium. Underlying the well-known link between Saturday, Shabbat in Hebrew, and Saturn. Underlying the link between Shabbat, Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. And a matter of fact, let me show y'all. Let me show you. Some of y'all might be new and you don't know this. Let me show you. All right. Let's make this clear. This is Jeremiah chapter 8. We are at the Bible Hub. All right. I'm going to go to my favorite version because it's the easiest to read, which is the Amplified Bible. This is Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8, y'all. See it in the Amplified Bible? Note, how can you say we are wise? Now, the question is, how can you say? In other words, you're saying we're wise, but how can you say that? Where's your evidence? Here is the evidence. These are the facts. Now, how can you say we're wise given these facts? Let's read. Amplified Bible. How can you say we are wise? And the law of the capital L-O-R-D, this is the Tetragrammaton. I'm going to throw this at you. You catch it fast as you can. Tetragrammaton, tetra, 4. Gram, letters, 4 letters. Tetragram, 4 letters. Tetragrammaton, 4 letters. Tetragram. A 10. Tetra. This is a compound word. Tetra. First, tetra. Second part of the compound, gram. Third part, atun or atan. Who is Atan? It's the Egyptian deity. The Egyptian deity who has what? 4 letters, A-T-O-N. A tetragrammaton. For y'all who didn't hear it, let me say it again. Tetragrammaton, compound word, 3 words. Tetra means 4. 4. Gram, letters, 4 letters. 4 letters in a ton, A-T-O-N, tetragrammaton, the Egyptian deity. And you thought it's YHWH. Well, guess what? It is YHWH, and it is a ton. You've been severely miseducated, severely miseducated. This is why you need to support this project to write the book of the law in Ibaryath, and from Ibaryath back into English, so that you can see these facts. You can see how you've been had, and you can see how you are being mistreated and misled by these so-called leaders who claim that they are not religious leaders because you are not in a religion. Hebrew Israelite is a nation, but they have religious titles. Amplified Bible. How can you say we are wise and the law of the tetragrammaton? Let me skip it. Let me demonstrate. Let me remove the injection. How can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us, and we are learned? Y'all see that? All of you hobo Hebrew Israelites, all of you Hebrew Israelites who refuse to learn and study, who disrespect your scholars. Learning is important. It's fun to the mental. Stop running from it. Stop making ignorant comments, trying to turn people away from your scholars, whether you agree or disagree with them. You sit back in a baby chair in the back of the car and you read and you learn before you start talking, making fights, telling people what to do, all right? Your goal should be to become a scholar, knowledgeable, not to start fights and put people down and talk about you should debate this person and you should debate that person. That's no different than you saying, I'm gonna call my big brother. I'm gonna have my big brother beat you up. That's what you're doing. Stop that. How can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us, and that we are learned in its language? What language? Ibaryath. You cannot say that you are learned in Ibaryath because you don't even know it. You don't even know English. In fact, 99% of the people watching this video, as a matter of fact, let me say in the world, 99% of the people in the world do not know how to read, although they can pronounce words. They don't know how to read. I'm talking reading comprehension. I'm talking about vocabulary, grammar rules, parts of speech, right? Reading comprehension. This is what I'm talking about. See, this is what being learned in language, etymology. This is what being learned in language means. You must learn Ibaryath. There's no way around it. No way around it. It's your heritage. That's the first thing. And the second thing, because these documents have been edited and used as weapons of war, psychic attack, or means for your oppressors to perform psychic attacks on you and rituals, you must learn the language so that you can break out of that, so that you can see it, so you can help yourself and others. Okay, so how can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us and we are learned in its language and teachings? See, Jeremiah said, how can you say that? You cannot say we are learned in the language. You don't know it. If you don't know the language, you don't know the law. We'll repeat that. If you don't know Ibaryath, you don't know the law, period. This is why he's saying, how can you say? How can you say? You cannot say it because you are ignorant. You don't know Ibaryath. You don't know what the documents actually teach. You know what your oppressor wrote in English. That's what you know. And some of y'all don't even know that. Behold, the truth is that the lying pen of the scribes have made the law into a lie. Behold, the truth is that you don't know Ibaryath. You don't know what teachings are there. You don't know what the law is. That's the truth, because you don't know Ibaryath. And your scribes, and these are our bloodline ancestors who began this process, okay? Your ancestors, in fact, have written lies into these documents, and you're believing the lie. So you are not wise. You cannot say you are wise. You cannot say anything about these documents because you only know a lie. And what is that lie? And this is the point. A mere code of ceremonial observances. By definition, ceremonial observances or code of ceremonial observances, this is religion. You only know religion. You only know corporate religion. Catholicism, with its various forms of Christianity, Judaism, all of these are corporate. Here is your relationship. Capricorn and Aquarius, corporate religion. Religion. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Support my project here at Zion Law School to write the book of the law in Ibaryath and then back into English to remove the deceit. All Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences we will remove. And we'll show you what the document actually says in English. Let's go back. Let's go back to Saturn here. Underlying the well-known link between Saturn, underlying the well-known link between Saturday, Shabbat in Hebrew. Now, Saturday means Shabbat in Hebrew. And Saturn, Shabbatay, Saturn is Shabbatay in Hebrew, is the reference to Saturn as the planet in charge of the Jews. Saturn is the planet in charge of the Jewish religion. Saturn is the planet in charge of the corporate Jewish religion and all of those people who follow it. Behind the link between Saturday and Saturn is the astrological theory that assigns the 7 planets in succession, beginning with the sun and following the order of their orbs to the 24 hours of the day and to the 7 days of the week. Now let's continue. I want y'all to get this. Pay close attention. Let me check the chat. Hold on. If y'all hear this music, sorry about that. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right, but let me just say Gene Nolan. Thumbs up back to you. Y'all make sure y'all like the video, okay? If you don't like it, here, leave. I prefer there be 0 people watching than 1 like. If you don't like it, go. Don't sit here and not like the video if you've been here longer than 5 minutes. All right? Ain't nothing free in this world. Don't cost you anything to press the like button. Prominent Roman historians such as Tacitus, 56 to 120 CE, and Cassius Dio, somewhere around 155 to after 229, as well as church fathers. All right, so let's get past this. So prominent Roman historians and church fathers like Augustine, who lived somewhere around 354 to 430, acknowledged. Okay, so here's our authoritative citation, y'all. Here's the authoritative citation. Acknowledged the Roman historians, prominent Roman historians, and prominent church fathers like Augustine acknowledged a special link between Saturn and Saturday. They acknowledged a special link between Saturn and Saturday, the holiest day of the week for Jews. It continues. That Jewish society of the Talmudic period, again, that Jewish, not the bloodline people, the religion, the Jewish society of the Talmud or the Talmudic period recognized the association. Y'all got that? So even the Jewish scholars recognize that Saturn is associated with the Shabbat or Saturday worship. All right. The Jewish society in the Talmudic period recognized the same association is shown by the fact that the Babylonian Talmud, Shabbat 156a, refers to Saturn as Shabbate, i.e., the star of Shabbat, the star of Saturday. Greek and Arab astrology, however, considered Saturn to be the most malignant. Y'all know what malignant is. In medicine, if something is malignant, it means we cannot cure it. We cannot stop its growth. It's horrible. It's a cancer that cannot be stopped. And of course, cancer, malignant cancer will turn your cells and your body into something that they are not. And their function changes. The function of the cell changes. Okay? This is cancer, malignant. It will kill you. Very horrible. All right, so the Jewish society of the Talmudic period recognized the same association that the prominent Roman historians recognized and Christian church fathers like Augustine recognized. The Jewish society of the Talmudic period also recognized that very same association. And here's why we know. The fact that the Babylonian Talmud, Shabbat 156a, refers to Saturn as Shabbate, i.e., the star of Saturday. The star of Saturday, clearly, obviously linked. Greek and Arab astrology, however, consider Saturn to be the most malignant of the 7 planets. And thus, now here's the conclusion. Here's what should matter to you, you Black Hebrew Israelites and you Hebrew Israelites and you Christians, etc. And thus, the Jews astrologically governed by Saturn. Yes, all of the camps who are reading, studying, and teaching to their members rabbinic books, rabbinic doctrines. Yes, all of you, you know who you are. Many of you are reading these documents and teaching it to the people who follow you. Well, guess what you're doing? This is crazy. Guess what you're doing? You're following astrology. And you're putting astrology on the people. All right? Which you say is wicked and evil. All right? And thus the Jews, astrologically governed by Saturn, were considered to be contaminated by the planets or by Saturn's wicked nature. Saturn's wicked nature. Y'all got that? Saturn's wicked nature. So here's our correlation to Capricorn. Saturn, correlation to Capricorn. Correlation to Aquarius. Why? Winter is dark. Bad things happen in winter, right? Wicked, evil. Take the D off of dark, add it to evil, you get devil, etc. We went all over this. So if y'all don't know, y'all can come back to that topic. All right, now I'm done with all of this. Let's get into the book. So I'm going to, I don't know how long we've been going, y'all. I don't know how long we've been into this. Let's get into the book. I'm going to stop the screen share and we can get into the book now. All right, so here we go. Aquarius and Saturn. Aquarius and Saturn. When the musical Hair was first produced in 1968, the term the age of Aquarius entered popular consciousness for the first time. And people began singing about the supposed, let me repeat that. And people began singing about a supposed utopian future in which we would all take off our clothes, practice free love, and live in peace and harmony. Few understood the astrology behind it all. Even the writers of the musical itself had no real idea. The lines, quote, when the moon is in its seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, end quote, shows astonishing astrological ignorance. Jupiter aligns with Mars frequently, and the moon is in the seventh house every day. The rest of the stanza, quote, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars, end quote, is more an expression of naive 60s optimism than a faithful account of esoteric tradition. In other words, the people who wrote the play didn't know anything about astrology. If the writers had investigated this tradition, they would have found that the dawning of the age of Aquarius would be anything but tranquil. The dawning of the age of Aquarius would be anything but tranquil, harmonious, and loving. As we shall see, one of the documents they could have consulted was Mark's Gospels. All right, so now the author is telling us here that Mark's Gospel, specifically chapter 13, going all the way to chapter 14, verse 6, has information about Aquarius, and that information about Aquarius is horrible, horrible, terrible. All right, so now let's continue. Next paragraph, we're on page 190. Quote, Capricorn and Aquarius, end quote, says Ptolemy, quote, are cold and wintry, and their diametrical aspect is not consistent with beneficence. Okay, you can get that reference, Ptolemy's reference, you'll find that on page 81. So what is this telling us? Because Capricorn and Aquarius are in the winter months, right? Deep winter, expect bad things, horrible things, okay? Capricorn, the worst part of Capricorn rules. This is corporations and all the evil, low down, dark and dirty stuff that corporations do, like Jim Crow, like the Black Codes, like shooting people down in the street, like children and family services, like policy enforcers, like forced servitude and prisoner of war camps, not following their own so-called statutes and laws, like slavery, all of the dirty, nasty things that you see corporations doing, not just those in the business of government or who call themselves government, but also corporations, for example, like mining companies or biotechnology companies, these companies that are producing bioweapons and calling them jabs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's continue. By diametrical aspect, Ptolemy means their opposition to the signs Cancer and Leo. Now, y'all remember Ptolemy is an astronomer, amongst other things, who came out of Egypt. He's Egyptian, all right? By diametrical aspect, he means their opposition to the signs Cancer. Cancer, that's taking us where? Summer solstice. And Leo, these are the summer months. Summer months are what? The sun is called what? The sun is at its zenith. This is the Christ, higher self. Winter time, December 22nd, this is lower self, Satan the devil, the opposer. Y'all got it? This is lower self behavior. So diametrically opposed. All right. By diametric aspect, he means their opposition to the signs Cancer and Leo, in which the power of the sun, S-U-N, is its strongest. So in other words, Jesus, JC, for those of you who don't know, if I say JC, JC is Jesus the Christ, hence JC. JC is what? He's the light of the world. JC is the light of the world. Therefore, JC's behavior is higher self behavior, right? Okay, it's what we are supposed to think. This behavior is higher self behavior. This higher self correlates to the time when the sun achieves its highest point in its annual orbit, which is somewhere around June 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Okay, sun is at its zenith. This is Christ consciousness, city consciousness. Okay, the sun is called the Christ. All right, the highest level of intellectual achievement, the highest level of spiritual achievement. Now, spiritual in my mind has to do with the art of breathing life, right? how to control breathing to support and optimize life. But you look at that however you want to. That's just my opinion. So if that's the case, at the opposite end of that line, that would mean what? The sun is at its weakest. This is the terrible behaviors. All right, this is everything you see nasty, rotten people and corporations doing. All right, let's move forward. Let me check the chat. Y'all be sure to like the video, put some comments in. If you don't know what to comment because you're not sure about the content or what I'm talking about, you can put that. As a matter of fact, I'll check it from time to time. All right, let's continue. Cancer, though ruled by the moon, is the sign of the summer solstice, when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. Leo, ruled by the sun, symbolizes the glory of the individual, the consciousness of selfhood and personal uniqueness. So let me help you out with the memorization technique. You can associate Leo with the success and achievement industry, or famous authors like Napoleon Hill, Les Brown, Anthony Robbins. See, all of the success and achievement. For some of y'all who might be into the religious aspect of it, let's say like a Reverend Ike, all right, who was actually not a religious guy at all. If you know his content, you would know what he was teaching. But I'll leave that for you all to figure out, all right? You go figure it out. Okay, so that's Leo. Self-determination, success, personal power, think and grow rich. Me, I am. Sovereignty. Natural law, I am. My right to contract to do whatever I want to do. I'm not going to injure you. I'm not going to hurt you. If something that I'm doing or planning on doing injures or will injure you, I'm going to stop or not do it. This is Leo, higher self. All right, let's continue. Cancer, though ruled by the moon, is in the sign of the summer solstice, when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. Leo the lion of the tribe of Judah. Leo, ruled by the sun. Highest level of intellectual and spiritual ability. See, this is life, the mind and physical health, right? The mind and physical health. Leo, ruled by the sun, symbolizes the glory, the success and achievement, the ability, the individual's ability to manifest successfully. The glory of the individual, the consciousness of selfhood and personal uniqueness. Capricorn and Aquarius, on the other hand, are both ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the planet that occupies the orbit highest and furthest from the sun and the moon. The luminaries are the sun and the moon. So Saturn is very cold. Saturn is very cold. The winter solstice, Capricorn and Aquarius are furthest from the sun. Y'all got that? Thus the link, the relationship. Capricorn, Aquarius, cold, wintry, corporations, miserable. Saturn, cold, wintry, corporations, cruelty also. Because why? It's furthest away from the intellectual and spiritual heights, as symbolized by the orb we call the sun. Y'all got it? That's all it is. Let's continue. And this is no hocus pocus, y'all. This is no religious or worshipful kind of stuff. We're just talking science. We're not in religion. This is science. Capricorn and Aquarius, on the other hand, are both ruled by Saturn, the planet which occupies the orbit furthest and highest from the luminaries, which are the sun and the moon, and in whose nature cold prevails. Saturn is cold, wintry, freezing, miserable. Cold and darkness, take the D off of darkness, put it on evil, you get devil. Cold and darkness symbolize the collective. The light of selfhood is all but extinguished. The light of selfhood, in other words, the sovereign man and womb man, you get stomped out. Or you got to fight to maintain your status, or you got to fight to get your status back as a Genesis chapter 2 man or womb man, a more rightful heir. In other words, your birthrights will be stolen from you, and you'll be in a constant fight to maintain them or to get them back. Once you get them back, you got to fight to keep them. And then how do you fight? You demonstrate, you enforce and demonstrate, right? Let's continue. All right. Cold and darkness symbolize the collective, now collective more than one. The light of selfhood, this is city consciousness, Christ consciousness, sovereignty, your Moorish American status, right? As the powers, the sovereign powers over all of the earth and its resources and energies. Your right to contract. See, when you take all of this away, what is this? These are bills of attainder. Y'all see it? See the connection? Bills of attainder. We just read the correlation in the Constitution, right? All of the powers not delegated and all of the powers that are not prohibited are reserved to the people. So your status as a people has been taken away from you. Therefore, your power to legislate, right, to create law, to enforce law, to interpret law, all of these things would be taken away and you would be put into a corporate status. Make the connections, scholars, make the connections. All right, so let me find where I'm, okay. And we are more conscious of our group orientation. We're more conscious of our group orientation. Why? And how? And do I agree with this? Well, one, why is because you don't have. You're being oppressed. So you don't have. So you need. So therefore, you're more conscious of other people in your group because you see them getting the same treatment. And hopefully you have some empathy for them. But more likely, you need each other. Now, if you're a corporation and you know that this is human behavior, what are you going to do? You're going to give welfare checks. You're going to give other types of financial support to do what? To break that camaraderie, to weaken that need of the oppressed group, who is you, to weaken their need and group orientation for each other. You give them a little fiat in the form of a welfare check, Social Security, child support, alimony, et cetera, et cetera. You give them that. And now they don't feel like they need each other so much, right? Now they feel like, I don't need you. And they develop the mentality that is self-destructive to their group, to their family, to themselves, to their kin, to their neighborhood, community, and to our nation. Why? For the reason I just said. So this is why they're giving you fiat, so that you can self-destruct and depend on them and not depend on each other. Because the minute you get in a situation where you realize you only have each other to depend on, well, there's strength in that. Okay? So y'all have been weakened, neutered by accepting help from your enemies. All right? Now that's just a fact. Give me a second, y'all. I need to. All right. Let's continue. Winter is the time of huddling together for warmth, of relying on our fellows to provide protection against predators, of sharing what we have to ensure the welfare of the community. Now, y'all know this to be true, right? Since the Black Power movement, the community and family orientation has been intentionally destroyed using government policy, et cetera, to destroy families. Okay, so this warmth and coming together is virtually non-existent in the Black community in North America. Now, I'm saying that because I can compare it to what I see and have seen in the many countries that I've traveled to. I know what impoverished people do to support one another, to help one another. I've seen it in many countries and many cultures. And I can absolutely tell you with certainty that what the Black people do in North America is not that. Is not that. I feel sorry for you in North America. Okay, when you see the type of help, support, camaraderie, community that exists amongst the people who are oppressed, or just even poor people in other countries, and you can compare and contrast that with you guys in North America, it's very sad, very, very sad. And y'all don't realize what's being done to you. And you don't even realize that your behavior is unnatural and destructive. All right, let's continue. Today, we have all but lost an awareness of these things, and they survive. He's talking about the coldness and cruelty that exists in winter, that exists when people are oppressed. So for example, the Black Americans, you guys are in the winter, right? You're in the winter part of your history. Cold, cruel, all right, part of your history. This is daily life for many, many of the Black people and the African Americans, all right? So today we have all but lost an awareness of these things, and they survive in somewhat mangled form only in our celebration of Christmas at the time of the winter solstice. But, now this is the author writing, but to our ancestors, not ours, his ancestors, okay, y'all? His ancestors, not ours. But to our ancestors, they would have been real indeed. What would have been real indeed? This wintry, freezing time period. Now, y'all noticing something? Now, it's always been my point of view that man has always been civilized, a high level of civilization and technology. Always, never was a time when it was not. Okay? And the archaeological record supports that. It does not support evolution. Now, the author is saying his ancestors would have been acutely aware of the pains and distresses of winter. Why? Why? Because we're dealing with hybrid troglodyte niggers, caveman, Neanderthal, okay, who lived in caves. This is documented history, who lived in caves. It's cold. They struggled to find things to eat. Women had 3, 4, and 5 husbands because one could not provide for them. I forgot the word for that. But y'all go check out, there's a book called the Iceman or something like that. I can't remember something, Google search it if you want to know more on the topic, but this is accepted by scholars as being the case, all right? So his ancestors suffered like that. So we have to keep this in mind as we read through the Zodiac, right? Because how much of their perspective did they edit into the Zodiac? And how many of the icons or symbols for the Zodiac did they replace? In other words, there are more ancient symbols for Aquarius or more ancient symbols for each of the 12 zodiacs. And did they, in fact, replace these symbols to reflect their history and the worship of their deities? Now, that's what I maintain. But anyway, let's go. Let's continue. But to our ancestors, they would have been real indeed. That means these cruel environmental factors and the symbolism of light and dark would have had much more meaning for them, for his ancestors who lived in caves, who didn't have electricity, who didn't have lighted streets and air conditioning rooms and buildings and all of the modern technology that our ancestors had, right? They didn't have all of that. They were in caves and in the wilderness, you know, eating each other and trying not to be eaten by other animals. Y'all get what I'm saying? All right. So yeah, they'd be scared when it became dark and scared when they heard sounds, scared when other people came around, because they're fighting and eating each other, right? And they'd be happy to see that sun come up. Completely different story when you're living in a house and you have lighting, right? You got air conditioning, you ain't worried about that kind of stuff. Y'all see where I'm going? So we must examine the Zodiac and all of these stories, not from the perspective of evolution, right? Which the hybrid experienced evolution, right? His existence was through or is through a process of evolution. He had a beginning, all right? And he was evolved scientifically, genetically, right? Our ancestors preserved the story that the hybrid troglodyte nigger, the Paleolithic man, the caveman, origin is, he comes from this according to the Moorish science, the Moorish history, the egg of a Moabite woman and the sperm of a chimpanzee, right? The darkest one. This is the most violent one, the most aggressive one. And then that was genetically engineered into what we see today, okay? All right, let's continue. And the symbolism of light and dark would have had much more meaning for them than it possibly can for us with our central heating and electric lights. I'm gonna stop it right there. I'm Dr. DrYasapa from Zion Law School. Islam to all the Moors, Shalawama to the entire house of Yasharallah. If you want to support the project to write the book of the law. These are Moses' words into Ibaryath and back into English so that we can have our own accurate translation. Y'all send your fiat to either my Cash App, which is $, DrYasapa, and PayPal is paypal.me, I think, / Zion Law School. The links for both are in the description area of this video. Also, y'all, make sure you subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course so you can begin to learn the fundamentals of your own language. All right, it's an online streaming course, 24/7 availability. All right, it's only $10 per month. You can cancel anytime, but I'm sure you're not going to cancel once you get it. All right, so you'll be able to do the things that you see me doing. The only difference between me and you is the education, right? And education can be gotten. All right, it can be gotten. So I've made it available to you. The link is in the description area, but you got to make your own decision to return to the Most High, reclaim your heritage, your language, Ibaryath. Everything opens up when you learn Ibaryath, all right? Everything, the scriptures open up like a flower. And you can see and smell the beauty. And you can also see the Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences, all right? You can see them, it becomes obvious, all right? Also, y'all make sure the recommended book list that I have in there, these are books that I wrote that teach Ibaryath. So y'all go back and y'all order those books for yourselves and for your family. Support the work that I do. Buy the books. You don't have to send a donation for nothing. Buy the books or support the project to write the book of the law in Ibaryath. Islam to all the Moors. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Come check me out. Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is in the description